Welcome, welcome. Yael, what a beautiful name. Welcome to the Magnetic Mama series. Now, I love your name so much, Yael, because my little boy Lael is actually Lael. Like that's his name. So you're
That's so interesting.
yeah, you're Yael and he is Lael. And it's a Hebrew name. It's an Old Testament
Really?
name. Yep.
That's so interesting. I was about to say, where does it come from? But it
Yep.
makes, wow,
Yep.
what does it
And
mean?
so
Because I know L means God, but what
yes.
does LA mean?
Yes, so his dad is Mike Ale and I'm Leonie. So Lael is our names together. So we've done like a Brangelina, basically.
Okay,
And yeah, like we just loved this name and it came to us when I was pregnant and that was his name. Like there was no going back. We had no other names. And when he was born, he was just such a Lael. But he gets called Lael because we live in Australia, right? And to go around like my name's Leonie, but I get called Leonie. So we sort of with Luna, it was like that's pretty easy. So we
pretty
yeah,
straightforward.
pretty straightforward. But yeah, your name is very beautiful. And so yeah, what's the meaning of your name?
Well, it's a biblical name. She's, I suppose, one of the Hebrew heroines of, there was a rebellion of a sort, and she took it upon herself to take down the the ruling army at the time, I suppose. So she seduced the ruler of the army, and when he was drunk and fed and all sorts of things, and he slept, I think she put a peg through his eye from a tent. It got a bit morbid, but
Wow.
she rescued the Jewish nation at the time, so she's considered
Okay.
like a morbid heroine.
I love that. Yeah, yeah. I have big expectations for Leo to fulfill that. That yeah, he's going to be like a hero. But yeah, I love names. I find them really fascinating, and I think that when we get called a certain name, there I guess there is a expectation or an intention that comes with that. So thank you for sharing. Now I'm asking all my beautiful mamas because the point of these interviews is to really showcase your beautiful gifts. We want everyone to connect with you. So what do you do, Yael?
Um, well, professionally speaking, I am an energetic healer, and I work in a modality called the emotion code, which I've been doing lots of freebie sessions. So I've been practicing my in a nutshell speech because most people don't know what the emotion code
Yeah.
is. So really it's a modality that was pioneered by a chiropractic doctor called Dr. Bradley Nelson in California about 20 years ago. And it goes on the premises that human beings are supposed to be able to process most of the emotions that we experience in daily life. However, nutritionally or stress or overwhelm, whatever, we often are not able to function at optimum capacity. So when we become overwhelmed by positive or negative emotions, they become trapped in our energetic body and continue to vibrate indefinitely at a negative frequency. So different emotions are different. Like the emotion of lust is different
Yeah.
to the emotion of grief, which is altogether different to the overjoy. But they all have this underlining vibration that sort of chips away, and they stay there like a silent player. It's a little bit
Mm.
like theater. You can have a gun hanging in part one and it will shoot in part three. Something might happen to you when you were 2 years old and it might affect you when you're 45. It's not
Yeah.
like a linear process. So when people often come with questions of emotional or physical and wellness or where are they going, we will look at what underlying trapped emotions are often causing that. And we find all sorts of things from preconception to birth to life
Yeah.
experiences to past lives to things that have been inherited through your DNA and passed through your ancestors. And it's not often like one trapped emotion fixed you, you know, it's a peeling of an onion process, but people often report feeling much lighter and like
Yeah.
a weight has been lifted, and they see a lot more clarity.
Yeah. I love that. It reminds me of Shrek, where he's like, we're all onions and we've just all got layers and layers. The donkey, he always really makes me laugh. But it's so true. And I actually really love to use that analogy that we have layers and layers and layers and layers of emotions and conditioning. And it like you say, it comes from childhood, comes from past lives, and we carry all of this with us. We absolutely carry it. And that's the power of these modalities, whether it's yoga or mindfulness or really tapping is a wonderful way to release, emotionally release feelings. But
For sure.
I think you have to find what works for you. And so I think it's really wonderful that you can offer these services and you can showcase your skills. And I know that I've seen the testimonials coming back from people saying they really do feel a shift. And a lot of the time we don't know why we feel the way we do. You know, they're just emotions. Like, we can wake up and feel amazing, or we can wake up and feel sad. And there's not really any reason for that. So I think the more we can, I guess, decode our feelings and have an understanding of them, the more powerful it is for us to have a wonderful life. So why do you do this? You know, why? I know you also have, how many children?
6 with 7 on the way.
So I'm actually talking to are you Russian?
Ukrainian. Well, Jewish Ukrainian.
Okay, so I'm talking to a Jewish Ukrainian Snow White right now, with her almost 7 children. So, wow, that's amazing. And I actually met you at beautiful Sarah Jane Perman Goddess Gathering Workshop. And It was really beautiful, right? Like, it was womb clearing and healing, and we danced, and it was amazing. And then I
I wish we did it more often.
Yeah, it was such a beautiful day. And I then went off on her retreat, which was just a whole week of that. It was mind-blowingly amazing. But I guess, why do you do what you do? You have almost 7 kids. You know, you're pregnant and you have 6 kids. So what lights you up to share this gift with the world?
I found that I was interested in healing since I was a very young child. I can't say that there was a pin drop moment that something happened and I thought, oh my God, I want to be a doctor. The truth is, no, I didn't want to be a doctor. But I was always attracted to healing. Yeah. And I also guess, being born in the Soviet Union, which is like, you know, for most people, it's Russia. It's a society that it's really rooted in natural medicine. Like, people will go to see a healer before they would go to see a doctor.
Wonderful.
And I don't know. I mean, there's many different practices of herbalism and healing. And in the 90s, before we moved to Australia, there were 2 energy healers that were televised on television doing healing. One guy did distance healing. The other guy used to charge water. People used to put buckets of water in front of the telly and have all kinds of miraculous recoveries from this water. I remember my mother spinning in front of the television from this guy's healing. It was insane. Wow. So I suppose I grew up in an environment where healing was often talked about and people talked about healers. And I remember thinking I would have to be 18 until I could do healing because I'm not old enough. And then when I grew older, I was interested in all the astrology and this and that. And I guess I wasn't quite sure. I was interested in energy, which was more hands-on. But my interest in healing have changed as I've grown. I tried to find a modality that I would be good at when I was in my early 20s after I finished university, and I decided that what I studied wasn't mine. And I went and I did lots of short courses in kinesiology and crystals and aromatherapy, and I just couldn't find anything that fit me. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, my husband's relative was visiting from overseas and he was staying with us. And we kind of found that we were like kindred spirits. He was suffering from depression, and I've had issues with depression when I was, you know, through my life at different stages. And I kind of felt that I wanted to help him. He was a young man who was like incredibly good looking, but really lost. And I found that searching for somebody for him, all of a sudden I stumbled at this modality called the Emotion Code online, completely coincidentally, because I was looking for a different modality. And the practitioner that came up did not practice the modality that I was looking for, but nevertheless, Google threw her up. And I was so curious that I've never heard of it, so I went to research it, and I was fascinated enough to buy the book. And then I started to practice things on myself, and then I had lots of lower back issues. And I went and I paid somebody for this therapy, and then I felt that I wanted more than I could pay for, so I taught myself how to do it. And long story short, my mother felt guilty that she forced me through uni when really it wasn't my heart's passion. So she felt to compensate for her downfall, she paid for my training.
Wow.
So I did this course and I qualified about 3 years ago. And then I went on to have another baby and went into hibernation, really, you know. And just now, I mean, she's 2, like your Luna, so I'm just sort of starting to try to put some things in place, even though I know I'm having another baby, God willing, end of July. But I don't want to start at square one every time. And I thought that if I put things in place now, I will have something to come back to when I'm ready to go back to work, as opposed to, oh my goodness, let's start to do something with it. And to answer your question, it gave me a sense that I could do it from home. It was something that I really enjoyed. And it became a vehicle for my other gifts, which are not necessarily part of the emotion code, but sort of come into it. I found that a lot of my psychic abilities started to come through. And I find a lot of things that I come across and I read, I integrate into my work. Like about 2 years ago, I read a book called Many Lives, Many Masters, which was well known, but not many know apparently. And it talked about past life therapy. And I found just reading about it opened up this whole vault of past lives where I find that I can tune into mine, I can tune into others. I find that I can trace root causes of people's unwellnesses. And I'm still learning. One of my issues is that I don't feel that I'm at the top of my range. So that's one of the things that stops me, I guess, from going out and really putting myself out there promotion wise. But I do think that I come with a good package. So at a starting point, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know for you, being seen is something that you find challenging, and there is struggle in that. And of course, I'm assuming you'd have time constraints as well with having so many children. So
well, really, school hours are my only, that's it.
Yeah. So all the kids are at school except your 2-year-old.
Even she's in kindy. Yay!
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, we love those days. My chat actually with Kim Stone was talking about the joy of childcare.
It's true. I've really questioned myself in homeschooling. And after the last school vacation that just passed, possibly largely because I'm pregnant and because it was really hot, I got to the stage of like homeschooling with a capital F. I'm sorry. I love it. It seems fantastic one day, maybe, but right now I was ready to send buckets of roses to my children's school when they went the first day back, Yeah,
it's hardcore, like the energy in our house is so peaceful and calm, when the kids aren't here. And then of course it's a very different energy. And we love having kids. We have this whole
I wonder why we have them, so we send them to school. But the truth is, like, even lovers need a break from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big advocate for separating business and motherhood,
church and state.
Yes, absolutely. So what's your big vision? What's your deepest desire? What do you feel you're here to do in this lifetime?
Part of me felt that when I looked into this question a number of years ago, and I felt that part of me was in this lifetime to resolve, this is like a transitional lifetime to unravel a lot of things that build up until now, which I feel a lot of my life has been just about clearing of stuff. But I have this desire to be some sort of speaker and a mentor. I was thinking about it this morning, and I was thinking I don't quite know what I'm going to be mentoring and speaking about. Speaking, I have an idea, but I feel like it's something that might transpire when I'm a little bit older. So I have this faith that when it slowly transpires, I'll have a better picture of what I'm going to be like, sort of enlightening the world with. But one of the things that I can say is that fortunately or unfortunately, I've had the privilege of having a very varied life with many different experiences thrown my way. Like, I've had either personal or indirect experience with drug addiction, with domestic violence, with postnatal depression, with moving countries, with lots of things, So I can open any subject in those topics, and I can speak about things knowingly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, perfect. And we've all had those struggles. I think depression comes in many forms, whether we're diagnosed or not. And, moving cities, moving countries, and having children, just all of that brings challenge.
Just that is enough.
Yeah, just that is really enough to make you kind of question your sanity. So how do you, in days of struggle, in days of challenge, we all have darkness. And for me, darkness is how you see the light. You have to have darkness to see cracks, right? That's how the light gets in. So how do you manage that when you are in times of struggle?
It really varies. It depends how dark it is for me personally. Like, it really depends. I found I know people, there's been a lot of talk online about stars this, energy that, everybody transitioning. I don't know, blame it on the boogie, possibly. But I found the last few weeks, a month has been quite challenging. And the days that I can be on top of my challenges, that I feel that I'm still sort of together, I journal. Journaling is very good for me. I find writing very therapeutic. And I find also doodling and drawing quite therapeutic. When I can't put it in words, I can often draw it out. I suppose in a perfect world, having more space to myself, maybe going for a walk, and so on, and getting fresh air would be good. But now, sort of combined with kids and pregnancy, I find that I avoid leaving the house because it's like physical walking and all of it. Like, I don't always want to do. Now that the temperature has dropped, maybe I will pick it up again, because I've just been like hibernating at home, avoiding the heat. In the days that it's really dark and really overwhelming, sometimes I try to take things like Rescue Remedy and like maybe some essences that help me to shift things. And sometimes I just want to go to bed and wish for this day to end and be another day, you know, like, okay, this was a crappy day. Like, I really want it to be over. I'm ready for tomorrow. I found that sort of channeling myself towards business and working with people has given me a lot of purpose and light, and I feel quite energized after sessions, which is really pleasant. And so that's given me a drive and motivation. So often when I feel dark, I kind of recognize that there is light. And I can tangibly see what that light is.
That's beautiful, and it's so true. And I think a lot of us run from our darkness. We don't want to confront it in any way. And I always see the darkness as a teacher. And I had a thought, actually, when you said that you love journaling and you love writing, because obviously I do too. As an author, I really love to journal and write. And I wonder if I put my business mentor hat on, I wonder if a way for you to showcase your gifts is to turn some of your writing into blog posts and to share those with the world. How would you
thought about it. I have actually thought for, I think probably for the last 2 years, to start a blog with 6 kids, 2 cats, you know.
That honestly, I would read that.
I don't know where to start. I tried writing it. I think, to write once. I started a blog and I wrote one post, and it's like, just don't know, like, what it's like, Dear Diary every day. I don't quite know from which side to approach it. So as much as it seemed really good, I just, I think even thought about it yesterday.
No, and I really feel that for you. I really feel that you have something very unique to share. You know, I would read and I mean, if you made it very funny and very real, as I know your personality, like, it's very like, this is who I am. And you're very passionate about your gifts. And I really see that when you speak, you really light up. Maybe on Facebook sometimes when you're posting that vulnerability, it's like, that's how people connect, you know, that's how people really, we connect through struggle and joy. So I just feel that you could start something, make it really fun. The first post is always to share your story. Absolutely, how you got from where you were to today. And then you could structure I would just do a weekly blog post. And what you can do is you can put a strategy around it, and you can come up with topics, and you would actually structure it so that you just know what you need to write. 4 blog posts a month, 500 words, doesn't need to be more. You can set something up on WordPress, or there's many websites you can use for free. And I would just roll out content once a week, and I would just maybe share it around your story. And you could have like a lifestyle post, and then you could have a business post, which is more about the emotional coding. And it can be tips that you can share. You can use statistics in there. So I really feel that could be something that could be really fun for you, because you love writing.
I have thought about it, and I've thought about writing a book. I actually had a session with a lady who is a freelance editor who's coming back from her maternity leave. So she gave me a freebie, like, book brainstorming, and we talked about writing a book about my life. So that's been interesting, because it's another topic that I've wanted to write, but I just didn't know where the hell to start. So
Yeah,
you can just pick any part of your life and start anywhere. It doesn't have to be in chronological order. It gets slapped together in editing.
absolutely. And the way I wrote my book is I did a mind map. So I literally, and there's all these great tools, but I literally, for me, it was working out what the book's about. So for me, my intersection, which is really the two gifts. So one is your skills and one are your gifts and your passions, and they come together like literally like an intersection. So for me, mine was family. I wanted to bring together connection in a family. And at the time, my word was yoga. And I wanted to bring together yoga and family. And that's how Mother Om manifested into what she manifested into, because everything I wrote was based on bringing those two things. And if you think about Apple, you know, very famously, they brought together design and technology, and they did it in the most profound way, and it changed the world. So knowing your intersection is important. So it could be your life, and it could be the spirituality and how the emotional coding fits in with your life. So knowing your intersection is important. And then I literally wrote those words in the middle of a bit of paper. You know, I think it was yoga and motherhood, because I wanted to sort of, family is the bigger picture. And then for me, it was motherhood. And I then started to do all the little bubbles, you know, that all the little subtitles that would come up, and they became 15 chapters. And what you can do with your blogs, of course, is you can write your blogs, and then you can turn your blog post into your book.
True. I know
Yeah,
people who've done it.
so yeah, there's many ways. In fact, I did it the other way. I wrote my book, and then I chopped up the chapters, so the 15 chapters, and then I turned those into blogs, and I then sent them to the relevant people, like whether it was pregnancy or birth or chakras or mindfulness or kids yoga. I sent it out to platforms that then shared that. And then, of course, you're really magnifying the reach. So there's many ways of writing a book, and many people don't know where to start. So I would start with your two main things that you're bringing together. And this is with business in general. It's called your intersection. And then I would basically strategize around those words. And it actually, mind mapping is amazing, because really it starts to really flow beautifully. So that could be something that you could do to give yourself some really great ideas around what to actually start writing about.
It's true. I mean, when I spoke to the lady, she said that the type of book that I'm writing about, or that I'm talking about, is in the department of like eat, pray, love. So it's like, it's just that there's such a quantity of life experience, and it's such varied. So she said maybe it's not one book, maybe it's two books. So I started to think 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Really? That would be.
Well, no, I'm just thinking of a trilogy. Okay,
Yeah.
we can use Lord of the Rings. Let's
Oh,
leave
yeah.
50 Shades out of it.
Well, this is where Yael, the warrior, comes back in, right, as the leader.
See, the warrior princess.
Yeah, the warrior princess. And look, I believe everyone has a book inside of them. And I think whether you write one or whether you write three, or some people literally will write series after series. But I think you have to start somewhere. Like my dad, bless him, has been writing a book for 10 years, really. It's ridiculous. He spends 5 hours a day writing. And I'm like, Dad, you just have to publish it, you know? Now he's like on his second and third book, and he hasn't even published his first book. And this is what happens to about 80% of people. They start and they never publish, because the way the brain works, it's like we're always drawn to different things, and you're constantly editing and writing it in your head, and you never get to that place of completion. So my advice with book writing is just to pick one intersection, one journey, if you like, whether it was where I am now and how I got there and the lessons and learnings along the way. But I actually feel a blog for you would be a very fun and gentle way to find out what people are interested in learning about. So instead of going and spending a lot of money doing, courses around book writing, blogging is a great way to find your voice, to actually connect with your market, to see what they're interested in, because you can share it on social media. That's the joy of social media. And blogging is a beautiful way to, actually discover what it is that you really want to write about.
It's interesting. Like, it's true. I guess I haven't thought of it in such a long-term vision. I just thought of it as a fun way of, sometimes it feels like a necessity, it's like a physical necessity to express yourself.
Absolutely. It's whether it's dancing, art, cooking, I really believe we do need to express ourselves. And writing is so powerful. And I know that when I launched my podcast, and of course I then asked all the mums, what medium do you like, right? Is it audio, visual, kinesthetic? And of course they're like, oh, we love to read. Like, oh, don't underestimate the power of the written word. It's powerful. And so maybe this is something that we could do together. We could have a strategy session around what your blog post could be about, and how we could structure those. And again, it's something that can be very easily put together at little or no cost to you, because there's so many great platforms now where you can create this really easily. So
I find a lot of the technological side of the things overwhelming, I suppose, because I feel like a child looking at the Egyptian pyramid. It's like, even to start a web page, there's this platform or there's that platform, but this has disadvantages, this has that advantages. It's like anything you look at is like options and choices, which is a blessed option, but like it's just like scary.
I would just go with WordPress. Really, you just pick a template, and there's some great templates that are completely free, or actually there'll be beautiful mamas in this group that would be able to help you with this. In fact, Andy Noon, who I'm speaking with on Friday, she does websites. So I know that she would be able to help you with this, and put it out there in the group. Say, I want to start a blog. Can you give me some advice around that? Like, this is the reason of these videos as well, is to say, hey, this is me. This is what I do. This is what I want to create. Can you help me with this? So I would absolutely put it out to the group and say, look, this is something that I feel I want to call in. And then, I think most of the fear that we have in our mind is like, just start, just don't worry about tech. Like, that's just another excuse. Like, I didn't know anything about podcasting or tech, and I outsourced all of that because that's not my zone of genius. My zone of genius is having conversations and writing and I guess communicating, right? So I outsource anything that I don't understand, because that's just taking up more of your time. That's not necessary.
When I was at film school at university, one of the things that we were taught is that the key to your success is to surround yourself with people who know more than you.
Absolutely.
Because when people start film industry, everybody wants to be the writer, the director, the editor, the cinematographer, the producer. And you can't wear all of those hats. You're good at 1, 2 things, and the rest needs to be other people who are better at it than you.
Absolutely. When I was doing when I was writing my book, I was with a lot of other authors, they weren't authors at the time, but they were all writing at the same time. And so we ended up going down a journey where we were all supporting each other. And this is how you end up creating magic in the world. Like, it's the support. You absolutely need support. You absolutely need
networking.
It's networking, absolutely. And it's collaboration for sure. And so I know that for you to start a little blog, and I love the idea of 6 kids, 2 cats. Like, I know there's other mummy bloggers that have similar titles. And, whether you're talking about the hilarity of just trying to get out the door with that many children, or you're talking about...
It's not hilarious, it's sad.
Yeah, I mean, you probably don't even leave the house. I'm like, oh my gosh. But I think, there would be some I know people would probably see that you have a very unique story to share. And then, of course, if you combine that with your spiritual gifts, I think that could be very powerful for you to bring those 2 things together. And you can share it in the group. It's a very safe space. And if you love writing, then it's lighting you up. It's lighting you up, and you're sharing your gifts with the world. And of course, it's a great way for people to read that and then book in a session with you.
Interesting. Yeah, I was just thinking, I guess I'm not just a mother of 6 kids, I'm a mother of 5 boys.
Oh, wow. There you go. And Maggie Dent, who's someone I really admire, and I met her when I was presenting at a childcare conference. She's the mother of 4 boys, and she has written many books, and she's an amazing speaker. But her, I guess, gift is to teach people how to raise boys. She's had 4 boys, and they're grown up now, but she makes a lot of videos, and she's very big.
She lives to tell the tale.
Absolutely, and this is the thing. Like, you have so much life experience with raising these children, and so I think there would be extraordinary value there. And I know that your glamorous and infectious personality would come out, and it would be really quite hilarious to read. And I think combining it with the emotional coding is wonderful. And people buy from you because they know you, because they've hung out with you, they've read your blog posts, they've listened to your podcast. They actually feel like they know you. And the reason they don't buy from you is because they don't know what you do, or they've just forgotten about you. This is the number one reason people buy from people is because they really know you and they trust you.
They buy your energy in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are many healers out there. Everyone's got a modality. Everyone's got like a mental program, right? But it's about you being able to rise above that and say, well, these are my unique gifts, but this is really how I can help and serve you. And I think you would attract other women who had several children who were like, I'm kind of not really coping right now. Can you help me? Right? And then you can say, sure, let's have a session. And then I can help you with my emotional coding. So it's a really nice marriage, I think. But that's just my feelings. And I'd love you to put it out to the group to see what other people felt about that.
There's just so much option out there. I guess, it's, I think for me personally at the moment, like I'm looking to, like where my interpersonal cleaning is at, is that I feel like I have blocks against putting myself out there, which it's a feeling. It's not like it's not such a mental thing. It's more how I feel like every day, whichever group you look at, whenever there's a promotion day, if there's a specific day, I just have this feeling of like, no, I don't want to do it. Like it started a few weeks ago, and obviously something that I did that unearthed that. Yeah. So now my thing is to look at it and to see how I can shift it. So I have thought about EFT and some other things.
Yeah, great.
And hopefully once I move past it, then I can, shine to the world.
Oh, you're already shining, my love. Absolutely. So you actually shared in the Magnetic Mama group the other day. So why did you share in that group and not feel like you wanted to share in other groups? Because that's really interesting.
I like your group because it's small and intimate. I also like it because it's a group of mothers. So I guess there's a sense of safety in that. And I like you, so maybe it was a combination of things.
Okay, well, that's beautiful. So there you go. You could use this beautiful space as a way to open up that writing joy and sharing some content. I think it could be really exciting for you. I'm actually really excited to read your first blog post.
Yay, now I have to go and research where to do it.
No research. Just sit down and write it. Don't think about it too much. Just
think first to write the post, then find where to post it.
Well, you can post it in the group. That's a really safe space. You feel comfortable there. There's no judgment there. It's like you said, it's a lovely space. So I personally would just sit down and write. Like you do with your journaling, right? There's no difference with the fact that you're writing in a journal and that's flowing for you. So I would maybe write about the fact that you have 6 kids and you have another one on the way, and this has been your journey up until now. And don't make it like you either write 500 words or you write 2,000 words. But
I know my husband calls it starting from Genesis, from the beginning.
Yeah. So, but you could really just do, like I read an article from Sydney to Brisbane. It was really about the journey and I guess the lessons and learnings along the way of that. And I had some practical tips in there around manifestation. So people love tips, what can I do right now? So you could talk about your starting off. I was a child and I wanted to be a healer, really putting a lot of this conversation into that article. And that, I'm from the Ukraine and now I'm living here and I have, obviously I'm like Snow White, right? Like that's kind of cool. And then, yeah, the emotional coding can come in and this is where I feel my gifts lie. And then you could share some real knowledge with, how do we tap into our emotions? Like, is there anything really practical that you could offer people? Because that's what people want. They want, what can I do right now to shift my emotions or to change my mindset? So is there anything you could offer the group? We've had other beautiful mamas do healings or readings for the group or offer mantras for the group. Is there anything you can do to showcase your gifts before we have to end this beautiful conversation?
I don't know if it's showcasing my gift as such, but I know that this tip was very useful to me.
Great.
When I was given it. And I don't know if everybody's able to do it, but for people that are in touch with their body and how they feel inside, if you have a particular feeling that is disturbing you, for example, like let's say fear, on top of my head. So if you can tune into that feeling and if you can center it towards the center of your chest, and if you were to think of the central meridian that runs, I don't know where it starts, I think it starts at your pubic bone and it goes up until here. So if you focus and centralize that feeling, and in your mental mind, you decide that you want to delete it, and you run your hand up your body, saying delete, as you thinking that you're deleting that fear, you often
Yeah.
find that that releases it from the body-mind system. And it's a really effective tool. I mean, if you can muscle test and check what you have and how much you have it, and if you released it, that's a big bonus. But just in the sensation side of things, if you can tune in and try to clean yourself and clear yourself like that whenever necessary, it's really useful, because it just allows you to carry it with you wherever you go. If you feel scared, you feel overwhelmed, it's too much of this, too much of that, you're waiting for a job interview, or you're very jittery, you can do that a few times and just feel a sense of relief because things have been offloaded.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, again, it's practical, it's beautiful. And the way you actually articulate this in video could also be a great platform for you, because you're very charismatic, and I love the accent and the whole image of
Really?
you.
I never thought of
Yeah.
video. I see people making videos. It doesn't appeal to me
Ah,
I don't know what to talk about. I know people
we've
make
just spoke
videos.
for 30 minutes, and I love you're so fascinating. I could honestly, I have so many questions for you. I really feel like you're, and I don't know whether you feel this because you've been pregnant obviously more times than I have, but when I was pregnant, I always felt like there was so much creativity going on, because in the sacral chakra where the baby is growing, it's like you're also birthing creativity and you're birthing ideas. And when you birth a baby, you often birth so much more. So
I find that in my case, probably because I know that there's will be more challenge, it's sort of, I don't know about creativity, but it pushes my productivity, because I need to
yeah,
organize and I need to create systems and I need to clean and I need to declutter and I need to do
yeah,
things to open space,
yeah,
I guess,
beautiful.
for more to come in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that. Oh, well, yeah, I could honestly, I've just loved connecting with you. How can the beautiful mamas who are either listening to this or watching the video, how can they come and find more about you?
Well, I guess because I'm in early beginnings in essence of the online presence. So really my Facebook page is a one-stop shop at the moment. I haven't
Okay.
branched out into a website because
You
as
don't need honestly. You don't
it's
need a website.
you're not supposed to invest money into business before you start making
Yes.
too much out of it. And I've already done a few little things like as an investment into it. So I'm saving myself from unnecessary expenditure.
Yeah. You just need a website page is great. If you want to start a blog, obviously you need a platform for that blog. But really, if you're product based or you're service based, you really only actually need a beautiful landing page. You actually don't need to go and just design a whole website. You just need a beautiful landing page. I use Entre Pages for my landing pages. So actually there's a myth out there that we have to go and get this big glossy website. And absolutely they serve a purpose for people who have a lot of products and services. But if you have one product or one service, you just need a beautiful landing page. That's all.
Maybe you can send me links to what you use and I can look into it, because really my business is location independent, which I love. I want to be location independent. My dream
Yeah.
is to travel. I want to, if homeschooling was ever to be a reality, only in combination with like world school travel. I'm not interested to homeschool in Bondi. I want to homeschool in Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think travel for me is always something that I've really resonated with. I saw something on Facebook where you had to put an airplane next to all the countries, and I've been to like almost 60 countries. So I really love traveling too. It absolutely lights me up.
I've been a stagnant traveler and I'm very itchy.
Yeah, me
But
too. I fully get that too. But look, I just love these conversations so much. And I'm so grateful that you stepped up and you got visible with me today. And I hope that
it's a pleasure.
you feel inspired about writing and really showcasing you have such a great story. I really think that you'd cut through the parenting blogs really quickly with your story. and also the gifts that you bring can help and heal so many of us. So thank you, beautiful soul. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to connecting with you in the group.
Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure, and have a lovely Brisbane day.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.